Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host Red. I got a video today from Davocate.
I am so done with this motherfucker, y'all. I'm so done with this motherfucker. Look at this. My damn game up in a damn what? What? What my PS5 gotta do with us?
Comments read, "Oh, you been cheating. Now tell the people what you did. She was just washing it for you."
Now tell people what you did. So it's justified to ruin people's stuff because this man did something. Okay.
Slapping my BF for no reason.
This is just mad disrespect. These videos are just literal disrespect videos. Why am I getting so triggered by this? Holy cow! I am not. Shit. I'm a little triggered. I'm not a big fan of people touching my head. I hate it. I hate it. It is a very huge sign of disrespect in Asian community and Asian culture. I never touch any of my aunts' heads, hairs, my father's head, even my mother's or anything. For people to be touching my head and to be slapping me like this, oh my jeez, I would be blowing up.
Another one? Her slap made him waked up. Girl, it's okay. I did the same thing. Why do guys do that dramatic thing with their eyes? My boyfriend be doing that. For real. Yes, he was being so dramatic responding to you slapping him upside the head multiple times for no reason. So dramatic. This says, "I don't get jealous, I get insane." Caption reads, "£10 and I'll do your exes as well." We don't react this way for nothing. We accept this. £10? I'll give you £50, girl. I see no problem here. This used to be me. I miss those days. Love this. Go, girl. Finally, my people. This isn't insane, by the way.
Like, when we see men do stupid shit like this, we call them out. You're idiots. Women just co-sign everything.
Do you do weddings? When's your next availability?
Hi guys, I'm so excited because I'm gonna go key my ex's car in like an hour. If all of you want to see me key his car, it's actually his truck, but I just woke up and I decided I wanted to key it. I'm wearing this pajama set that I just got from TJ Maxx because it's so cute and girly.
She's so nonchalant about it.
If he sees me, I
but
want
make
to
it
look hot, so I'm
self-incrimination.
keeping my makeup on. My hair's a little wavy because, yeah, if he sees me, I just need to look good. It's 8 o'clock right now, and I'm probably going to go at like 8:45.
This is where I said, thank God my car sits in the garage. Because I could think of maybe a few women that would be upset at me. Just maybe a few women.
Whenever it's darker so that I don't get caught on the Ring doorbell. Because then there's no proof that I did it.
Oh, you're worried about
I don't have like a
caught.
ski mask or anything. Also, like I said,
This is
I wanna look
probably
good,
not
so
a
I'm
good
not gonna wear a
idea.
ski mask.
If you're worried
So
about
yeah,
getting
follow if you want
caught.
to see me key his car. The video should be up in like an hour and 20 minutes.
Like your full name
I'm
is
gonna
your
take my water bottle, and I think this is a cute keying car outfit. It's not a car, it's a truck. I don't know why I keep saying car.
LMAO, I like you, you're funny. My first impression, and I look up to you. There is a unique phenomenon where whenever something bad happens to a man, society's knee-jerk reaction seems to be, well, what did he do to deserve it?
Correct.
There is this automatic presumption that no matter what happened to him, no matter how horrible, he must have done something to bring it on himself, especially if a woman is involved. After all, women can't possibly cause harm in relationships. No, the man must have done something to make her act that way. And it's not just in relationships. If a man gets laid off or loses his job, well, he must have effed up somehow. But
True. And it's just like, layoffs are just layoffs. Sometimes, yeah, you may not have been the best employee, but you weren't the worst employee. But you were in the middle, and they're just eliminating everything from the middle. So,
especially with relationships. If there's a divorce, he must have been a dog shit husband. And don't even get me started on false allegations. Even when an allegation is proven to be demonstrably false, very rarely will that man ever see justice or even recover from the damage of those allegations.
We have plenty of examples. Jonathan Mayer, Johnny Depp, and many others that we can't name, and many others that aren't famous.
Kind of just shrug their shoulders and say, oopsie, and move on and leave him to just pick up the pieces by himself. And so today I'm finally going to talk about it and address it. What is going on with this social reflex that kicks in whenever a man is hurt? Why is it that instead of empathy, he just immediately gets interrogation? Why is it that instead of support, all he gets is suspicion? Why is it that no matter what, men are not receiving help? They're receiving moral audits. Because that's exactly what happened in a very specific incident that I want to talk about today that inspired this video topic. I knew I had to cover this when the other day I was just scrolling through threads and I came across a horrific image of a man with a massive black eye. And the caption read, "Goal for 2026, find a chick that can control her emotions." It said, I knew I had to make a video on this topic when I was scrolling through threads, saw these photos of this man with a horrible black eye, and then I saw the comments. Now, I spoke to this individual and he quickly removed this post, so he's asked that I do not show the photos or his username. And out of respect for him, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to show the discourse that followed. If you're wondering why he doesn't want his information out there or the photos shown, abuse often escalates when a victim finally leaves, and it can get especially worse when that person seeks out.
No, I think it's wonderful that you honor his wishes. I don't think if a man doesn't want to be fucking blasted on the internet and requested that, and yeah, be cordial about it. I appreciate it, advocate.
Help or support. So I'm not going to victim blame him for trying to protect himself, because as you're going to quickly find out, the man has received enough blame already.
I'm sure.
Let's get right into this comment from Moonweaver's Garden. She says, "You sure about that, bud? Seems like you've got plenty of issues of your own to work out. You should look into reactive abuse. It may be very enlightening about your situation." There's more to her comment, but I'm going to pause here in case some of you have never heard of reactive abuse. Reactive abuse happens when a person is just pushed, manipulated, gaslit, provoked so far that they react in a way that appears abusive, lashing out, screaming, maybe even throwing things. But the difference here is that this is so completely outside of their typical character, and they never would have done this without being pushed so far. And a lot of abusers thrive on pushing their victims to the point of reactive abuse, because it gives them an excuse to point and say, see, I told you they were crazy. Now, reactive abuse is real, and punching someone in the face may be a reactionary response, but punching someone in the face is still assault. It is still illegal outside of self-defense, even if you felt provoked. With that said, let's read the rest of Moonweaver's little thesis to see why she thinks that blatant violent assault was justified through the reactive abuse framework. She continues on, "The abuse doesn't start when hands are put on each other. It starts with that emotional unpredictability and dishonesty. I'm sure substance abuse and hunting for bitches while in and freshly out of a relationship don't help either. Men definitely deserve to be lonelier." So here, I guess, to help with her little evidentiary hearing, she posts pieces of his Threads post history, specifically outlining 2 posts. The first one she highlights says, "Day 2 of not drowning my sorrows in vodka." So this must be the post in which she gathers enough evidence to accuse this man of having a substance abuse issue. Crazy though, because this context actually implies the opposite.
Correct.
It actually implies that he is interested in achieving sobriety. Whether you're on day 1 or day 100, intentional sobriety deserves to be celebrated, first of all. But second of all, that post alone does not indicate or prove a long-term issue with substance abuse. Also, I'm sorry I have to keep censoring the word abuse. YouTube is just very, very strict about that.
I know they're really anal. They censored a lot of my stuff and really limited a lot of my stuff. I'm actually in the doghouse with YouTube right now because of
that kind of thing. It's not me. I would love to say words. Based on all of the other posts that she's cited, it's pretty clear that this man is just going through a depressive episode, likely because of his toxic relationship. Extensive research and empirical data continuously tells us that people who are experiencing intimate partner violence or domestic violence have a tendency to self-medicate. And this isn't an excuse or a justification, but it's important to understand why this happens. Many survivors of trauma develop chronic stress reactions, and one widely recognized model, the self-medication hypothesis, suggests that these survivors are a lot more likely to use—
Damn. Is that why I smoke so much?
alcohol and drugs to try to dampen or numb these triggers, such as flashbacks, anxiety, and PTSD.
Okay, now I'm really thinking maybe it is why I smoke so much.
Personally, I'm proud of this man for recognizing that he was developing bad habits, naming them, and then holding himself accountable publicly in a way that was basically asking for help. Not a lot of men have the bravery to do that. In fact, most men choose the route of just suffering in silence, which becomes more understandable when you see how many of them are just blamed and shamed the moment they choose honesty and vulnerability, as we're seeing here. And the next post here that Moonweaver has circled to imaginably imply that this man kind of had it coming was this one that says, "Hunting for bitches at the club." Now listen, I'm not going to do a lot of heavy lifting to defend the legitimacy of such a post. I certainly would not recommend any of you guys to post such a thing. It's pretty crass and ugly at best, and dehumanizing and misogynistic at worst. I'd even venture to guess that he may have posted it to incite some kind of reaction. But to imply that it's offensive enough to warrant a black eye? If we punched each other over every offensive post we saw online, we'd just all be dead. I mean, you really think that posting "hunting for bitches at the club" on Threads is enough to warrant getting punched directly in the eye, potentially causing lifelong orbital damage and blindness? Are you fucked? Are you fucked in the head? Like I said, it's an ugly thing to post, but let's dive even deeper into it. Because based on his other posts, I was assuming that they were either already broken up by that time, in the middle of their breakup, or had already been in some kind of completely unestablished situationship.
I agree, because this man doesn't seem like he would post something like that while he's still in the relationship
type thing. But let's go ahead and try to give as much possible charity to her claims that we can, and let's assume that they were in a completely monogamous relationship and he still chose to post that. Let's say he did full on cheat on her. And those of you who know me know that I hate cheating, and yet you are still not selling me on the "he deserved to get punched in the face" argument. Because listen, I don't know if you knew this, but you're allowed to just simply break up with people when they post things you don't like. You're legally allowed to leave people who cheat on you. What you are not legally allowed to do is beat the brakes off of them. Because do you know how many women cheat on men every single day? And I highly doubt you would be justifying any violence that occurred to them, as I would hope you wouldn't. But what she is implying from just two simple online Threads posts is that he must be a chronic alcoholic and a chronic in-person rage baiter, and so she just couldn't help herself. And to that I say, I just do not have enough evidence to make that same bad faith assumption. In fact, I actually went back 6 whole months on this guy's post history, redacting all names and faces here, and it was literally only until very, very recently that any of his posts were even mildly dark and depressing. Prior to whatever hell on earth this relationship was, All of his posts were about how much he loved seeing his friends, traveling with his family, how much he loved going out and having a great time, loving life. He even posted wonderful things about trying his best to cater to protecting women as much as he possibly could. By all context clues I found,
It sounds like he got with a feminist that tore him down and gaslighted the shit out of him.
really seems as though some demon entered his life and completely ruined him. But that's just my interpretation. Moonweaver and others clearly chose the most violent interpretation possible, with some even comparing him to Brian Laundrie, the man who murdered Gabby Petito. Here is Moonweaver again, lending credence to these comparisons. I remember this case. I truly hate the world we live in and how entitled men enable each other to be. They really are unstable. I recognize it miles away in his tone. My baby
What tone? How do you read tone from messages?
daddy was like this, and definitely cried to his mommy that I put hands on him after he'd been doing everything he possibly could to intimidate me after catching him cheating. Much like this guy's ex, I got fed up and set his ass straight. It's not all men, but it almost always is a man. And it's all starting to come together at this point.
Just man hating.
A self-tell of the century. I get it now. The reason she is so quick to defend a complete stranger who beats men
She's
is
a man
because
beater.
she also beats men.
Yep.
It's always a man, huh? Except when it's you, Moonweaver. Except when it's you. And Moonweaver did have a lot of support, I fear, including this comment from Stormy Leto with all of the confidence of an alpha male podcast bro saying that this man was definitely not hit by an intimate partner, despite admitting that men are hit all the time by women. So close, almost there. Swing and a miss, ma'am. And again, I do not know how she can be so confident in this conclusion because
Well, because of the Lulu land. Like, that's the thing, Davocate. A lot of these women just live in this land that doesn't exist. There's not reality. It's whatever reality they are able to create in their mind, as long as they're right.
no part of his post history does disprove his claim. As I mentioned, I went through his post history ad nauseum. This dude went from a happy-go-lucky, laid-back guy to a low self-esteem, depressed husk of his former self. At no point does he contradict his original claim that he was hit by a former partner or change his story. Even in his replies, all he ever does is thank people who do show him support, offer gratitude, while making very crystal clear that no matter what, he would have never hit a woman or hit them back, even while being hit himself. This is just one man's story of having to go private and go into hiding after not being believed and worse, being blamed. But unfortunately, he's far from alone. There are so many precedent cases of men who have entirely lost their lives to this dynamic. And
I'm decently triggered. That's why I can't really say much. I'm just watching it with you guys right now. I'm trying not to be too upset.
it deserves attention so that we can start changing the stigmas that keep men from being taken seriously. The first case that comes to mind at the very top of my head is the murder of Christian Toby Obumseli at the hands of his girlfriend, Courtney Clenny. You might remember this one. It's pretty recent, but Obumseli, much like this man, documented his abuse and tried texting other people frequently that Courtney was becoming more and more violent. Despite this, despite the fact that he was stabbed to death, despite the surveillance footage that showed Courtney beating on him without him retaliating at
This poor brother, man. May he rest in peace. But this is the part where you should have walked away, brother. You should have walked away. You'd still be alive. I'm not trying to blame blame someone that passed away, but yeah, walk away.
at all just moments before his death, and despite the fact that Courtney Clenny had absolutely no defensive wounds whatsoever, All she had to do was tell police on the scene that it was self-defense, and she was immediately cleared. Courtney got to continue living her life, going to the beach,
This is fucking crazy.
partying, creating OnlyFans content for 4 whole months before she was finally arrested and charged with second-degree murder. The next case that comes to mind is the...
How is it second degree? That should have been first degree murder. If I got caught with 2 first degrees, how does she get caught with only a second degree? That is some bull.
Case of Jodi Arias, who brutally murdered her ex-boyfriend Travis Alexander in a fit of rage after he dared move on with his life with another woman. This man was stabbed 27 times, shot in the face, had his throat slit, and was alive for most of it. Just like Obamseli, Alexander feared for his life and tried to warn people that he was terrified of Arias, but no one took him seriously. They interviewed Arias the very next day, and she admitted that she was there for his death, despite them being broken up and her having absolutely no reason to be there, but all she had to say was, well, it wasn't me, it was 2 masked intruders. I just happened to escape. And then never tell anybody what happened. So they let her go. Weeks later, they go, you know what? That story actually didn't make much sense. Let's talk to her again. This time, Jodi goes, okay, you got me. It wasn't 2 masked intruders. It was me, but it was an accident. There I was holding a loaded gun like you do when you go and visit your ex-boyfriend to have a quick chat, and then whoopsie daisy, pow, it just went right off into his skull. Crazy, right? Oh, and the 27 stab wounds and the slit throat. I just got scared and panicked, but you know how that happens. Just a total accident, right? And the police were like, sounds good, and then didn't arrest her again. And people actually say that female privilege doesn't exist. A whole month later, they finally arrest her, and even at trial, even after her several changing, contradicting stories, even though she also never had any defensive wounds, domestic violence groups and individuals still showed up to defend Jodi Arias and claimed that it was actually Travis Alexander who was the bad guy and made her act that way out of reactive self-defense. Luckily, after 3 whole days of deliberation, the jury finally understood the evidence enough to charge Jodi Arias with first-degree murder and sentence her to life in prison. There are a lot more cases I could reference, but I think you're getting the point. I'm not going to deny that men make up for more violent crime than women do, but I definitely think it's ridiculous how often we just do not believe that female perpetrators and male victims can exist at all. It's always females have their own autonomies and their own identities until it comes to taking accountability for their own violent actions. It's always, we care about all domestic violence survivors until one of them has a Y chromosome. If you're like me, I'm sure your cortisol levels are way too high, so let's wrap this up. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's this. Men don't fail to come forward because nothing bad actually happened to them, or because toxic masculinity made their egos too big to talk about it, or because they actually did something wrong and have something to hide. They're not coming forward because they already know what happens next. They already know that the first question they're going to be asked isn't, are you okay? It's going to be, what did you do? It's just the male version of, well, what were you wearing? And neither of those are even remotely appropriate responses to someone telling you they've just been harmed. That's a reflex that doesn't protect victims at all. It protects abusers. others.
I can admit that when a woman's coming to you and crying her heart out and you're like, what did you wear? Yeah, that's quite insensitive.
And if you've ever been guilty of this, it's time to dig deep and maybe unwork some of that reflex. And if
I admit, maybe when I was younger, I was more like this, but nowadays, men tell me a lot of things now. I take it with a grain of salt, of course, but I also take it with sympathy and empathy, because I know a lot of these people, they're men. Most men are not willing to tell you their most vulnerable and their most like worst moments in life. And when they do, it's kind of hard for me to take it as like, oh, they're just trying to get clout or anything. Most people aren't going to be willing to say the horrible things that happen to them.
If you ever see someone,
At least most men that I know,
being guilty of this, it's time to call them out. Because if harm only matters when the right person is hurt, then this has nothing to do with justice. It's all about optics. You don't have to like someone to acknowledge that they didn't deserve violence. You don't have to approve of someone's post history to oppose assault. If we actually claim to care about ending domestic violence and ending intimate partner violence, then it can't be conditional on gender or likability. It can't be a popularity contest. Because until this changes, a lot of men are going to keep doing exactly what this guy did. Disappearing quietly, licking their wounds alone, and deciding that silence is safer than honesty.
and checking out. Again, this is why MGTOW is such a thing. It's not just because it's women, not being good mates. No, it's society. Society treating men this way. So men don't even want to be a part of society anymore, nor do they even want to make society better anymore. And I can't blame them. I really can't. I can't blame any of you guys, because through my own experiences, I can say I wouldn't blame myself if I chose that route. So I'm sure most of your guys' experiences are not too far off when it comes to societal norms and women.
That should make us all very afraid. Thank you so much for watching this all the way until the very end.
Shout outs to Davigate. This is definitely one of those topics that we don't talk about a lot in our niche. We talk about, a lot of women and women fuckery, and we point and laugh a little bit. But men, I'm sure most of us men have gone through this, because this is what stoicism kind of propagates, right? The reason why men are stoic, because we've realized a lot of these things. If we were to share our weakness or our emotions, we're seen as weak and useless. So we'll just be stoic and keep it to ourselves. Sometimes it can be a big detriment to us though. Don't always keep everything in. Sometimes you might need to share. Find someone worthwhile. It doesn't have to be a woman. It could be your best friend, could be a guy, could be a family member. Share some things. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. Or you get to the gym. Those are my suggestions. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that. And see you guys next time. Ciao.